Race 3 right.
They want him to shut off.
I've heard mountain climbers tell stories of rock faces that haunted their dreams. I've heard treasure hunters talk about shipwrecks that call to them from the bottom of the ocean floor, and no one can explain why. No one knows what it's going to be that flips that switch inside us all. But somehow we all know that once it's flipped, only one thing can turn it off again. This is the War in the Woods. It's been labeled the most dangerous no-prep race in the world, and for good reason. This shindig takes place at a little unassuming outlaw track in Brown County, Indiana. The untouched surface is tricky to say the least. Since 1968, this track has been the place small-town dreams are made of. But it can also be the place of nightmares should you choose to ignore the dangers ahead. The racing surface is uphill about 1/8 of a mile. Once that battle is over, you have just over 900 foot of asphalt to get your machine safely stopped and turned around. If you should need more than that, well, you can try your luck on top of the hill, where they have a narrow strip cut out of the forest for emergencies only. I could go on all day about the challenges this place proudly puts forth to even the most seasoned of drivers, but none of my words can prepare you for war. To be honest, nothing can. War in the Woods is truly 100% off the trailer. You will find no bullshit grudge races set up between friends looking to grab a last-minute test hit on the surface before the race. Nope, there's no testing going on here at Brown County. This one isn't for the unprepared. And if you think the racers are crazy for going along with all of this, well, you're probably right. And the man that envisioned this one-of-a-kind true no-prep race is Jeff Thomas. And he might just be the craziest one of the whole bunch. It's hard to complain to the main man in charge about the mud or the shutdown or the bumps or the guardrails, especially whenever he is right there in the driver's meeting alongside of you. Oh, and complaining to the flagger won't get you anywhere either. Limpy is the man on the light all weekend long, and he has no sympathy for crybabies. If you find yourself being called into those bean blossom woods to the old Brown County dragway, this is the best piece of advice I can give you. Make sure your belts are tight and keep your hand on the chutes. Round 1, War in the Woods. Here we go. First round draw, I get the Black Widow Camaro team. The driver's name is Kerry. I'm not sure of his last name, but really probably wouldn't say it anyway because he's mainly a street racer. I'd say throughout his racing career, I've noticed him probably 80% street, 10-20% track, and mostly like really wild no prep stuff. So this is kind of what he does. I have a lot of respect for him because he raced with Toby. Toby talked a lot about him. He also races for the SSR team or with Matt from SSR. They just get it done. They show up on any surface and they get it done. They've won a bunch of the big street races, a bunch of the big legal and illegal street races. So you can bet your ass if there's somebody there to worry about, it's going to be this guy. I honestly thought when I heard he was there, I honestly figured, I'd try and stay away from him to the final if I make it that far. Drawing him my first race out, you know what I mean? And the first time I've done anything crazy like this, and then knowing the surface is really, really bad, and knowing that I've been used to going down really good surfaces for the last few years, the one guy you don't want to draw out here is the Black Widow because, he's been on just about every bad surface you could be on, and they have their stuff together. So this is what I wanted, man. You know what I mean? This is what I wanted. It's a tube chassis Camaro, really well-built car. I believe it has a blown Hemi in it. I know it's got a blower because it's sticking over the roof. I believe it's a Hemi. I'm not 100% sure. If you ask Kerry, it's a 283 small block. So I'm judging by the sound, I'm going to say probably a Chrysler, you know, aftermarket Hemi, what I'm guessing, but big tire, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a legit car. You know, there's a couple of cars here that, you know, probably, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, you guys have said it, people have already said it, there's a couple cars here that probably aren't in my league, or in, you know, in what people consider to be my league of race car, but you know, that's what's so great about this race is you know, the surface isn't going to handle what my car can run all out, so it doesn't really matter if they're in my league or not. It's gonna, this place is going to come down to who can tune and drive and who can get down this surface, and it's off the trailer, so there's no test hits. Nobody here's made a hit on this surface unless they did it last year. No one's made a hit on this track since September or something of last year. Like, that's pretty gangster. We're all going up there off the trailer with no data. Going up against Kerry or the Black Widow team, you know, isn't what I really wanted right now. You know, I figured that'd be a kick-ass final, but now's our time to let it shine. We got the left lane. I've walked them. I don't see much different between the left and the right. You know, they're both really bumpy. They're both short. They both have 45 transitions. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see a whole lot of difference between the lanes right now, but you know, you won't know until you start to see cars going down it. If they're developing a pattern in each lane, if the guys in the right lane are doing really killer burnouts and putting them all in the same place, and the guys in the left lane are all over the place, or vice versa, you know, that's how you decide which lane's going to turn out to be the better lane. But a lot of the lanes can be decided the first few pairs. You know, if the guys don't have their shit together, they could tear a lane up real quick. So we were supposed to run before small tire, or before anybody, I think, but now that it's been condensed to a Saturday deal instead of a Friday deal, and now that it's a daytime race, they're trying to get the bigger class done first, which is obviously small tire at this race. So they're going to run small tire, and then I think we're up after them. So coming up, me versus the Black Widow at War in the Woods, first round. Oh, yeah, also, as far as the tune-up goes, or what I'm doing to the car for first round, I'm basically dragging all the tools out of the toolbox, out of the, you know, every tuning tool I have, I'm dragging it out to the starting line. So, you know, I didn't really walk the track like I should have, but I did look at the black marks a little bit. I did kind of, you know, look over my shoulder at it, but I knew if I walked it, I would go crazy. I knew I would be in the laptop for 45 minutes straight and screw everything up. I know I've got a good tune-up in the car. I know it goes down. I know it'll go down. It's gone down. You know, the last 3 streets I've took it to and went down, it's went down. So I know I have a good tune-up in the car. You know, I know it's got enough to run a 450 or 40 or a 50 probably is what's in it. If I take it to the stripe, it should go a high 40, low 50. If I get outran by something with more than that, then I should have wicked it up. But we'll see. That's what off the trailer is all about. You don't know.
Shut him off.
Race 3 right.
They want him to shut off.
I was trying to tell you before they're doing an announcement. Just go back.
Avery Hansen.
They shut the car
Avery
off.
Hansen.
They wanted you
Race
guys both to
3
kill
right
them
lane. Race 4 right lane.
Let's take it back to Oklahoma.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Race
So
5.
pass the water.
Hey, I stopped. Hey, I got no problem on stopping, man. They try to say that shutdown was scary. What are they talking about?
It wasn't bad, was it?
No, hell no.
my burnout way too early. It wasn't your fault. I sat there and my shit got hot.
Yeah, I was like,
It's not your fault, dude.
no, well then I watched it. They made me do it. Burn out and what then you could run out front. I'm full width.
Oh, is that what they
I'm
were?
full width 49.
I was wondering what they were yelling about. I heard you lock
because it was
Yeah, I heard you lock it up. I didn't know what happened though. Sorry you didn't get that race, man.
Shit, I'm
We'll
sorry.
do it again.
Sorry, I did burnout before, and then they made you do your burnout 30 minutes before I did mine. Like,
I don't know
it was a
why
lot.
Got one down.
I didn't shake it. I didn't shake it. I didn't shake it. Yeah. How straight was that? Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Hey, we've been working on straight for 3 weeks. This track's narrow. So like it's kind of yeah, it's definitely bumpy, dude.
It's bumpy as fuck.
After the, like in the burnout, it was like, in the burnout? Like, we're in the bumps in the burnout? I was like, wow. I was like, I sure hope these wheelie bars, I hope the front end's up when I hit that, otherwise it's not gonna go. Dude, that's a cool ass little track for sure. I didn't think your truck was gonna be here. That's cool. I didn't think your truck was gonna be here. That's cool. Where's Kenny?
He's probably going up for hard tire. He's getting ready to come up for hard tire.
Like people don't understand, like he just went through it. He went through what all of us go through all the time. He just went through that. You know what I mean? And when you go through that and nobody notices, it sucks. Because you know, you just did it. Like you made it. You made it to the race. You broke everything. You still fucking made it. You know, and nobody knows. They're not gonna say anything or whatever. And him, he's not the type to do anything. He's not gonna tell nobody. He just seems like such a, you know, a cool dude. You know?
He is.
Like selfless. You know, yeah, like selfless. He doesn't. Like he wouldn't even be touching that car if he had to work on no shit.
That's very true. That's why we're trying to help him.
Yeah, they ain't got no heat in him more time.
That was a good pass.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, they said you wasn't going to get down.
Huh?
They said you wasn't
Everybody
gonna
said I
get
wasn't going to go down. Then they said I wasn't going to shut down if I did. They said, well, he's supposed to be the way. He's not. He's either not going to go. And then everybody's going to laugh at him because this fake TV guy can't get down the real track, you know? That's why I'm here. Everybody says, oh, yeah, he can do it on there, but take us to somewhere.
I said you made street going. Exactly.
The difference is on the street I can do it and nobody gives a shit. And they're like, well, what do you think you forgot? Yeah. But everybody, you know, I come to a place like this, then they all say I'm ashamed. Now I can do it in front of all the fans. It's like, okay, now I went down, so, you know, now I need to go fast.
You want to know what they?
Oh, no, dude. I'll be around.
She said I can't hold the baby. He's happy.
Okay, so we got through first round. There was some issue at the beginning of the round, or the beginning of my pass anyway, which we can talk about. You know, you'll see in the video. We pull up there. We're in the water box. We had the okay to, you know, go for it. The two pairs before us had, you know, we were in the middle of the round, so we pull up there. We know that we're going to do the car setup for a big burnout, so we know we're going to do a big burnout. So, you know, we go up there with every intention of getting into the box and getting our burnout done before he starts his burnout, just so that, you know, we give ourselves plenty of time. As I start my burnout, I see track personnel. I see everybody in the center. They're waving their arms. They're going crazy. I see the track guy who has the walkie-talkie. He's doing this. Limpy's trying to figure out, you know, how to get to me to shut me off. As this is happening, all I can think of in my head is anytime everybody's waving and throwing their arms when you're doing your burnout, all I can think about is safety. You know what I mean? Because like all I can think is the only reason they'd be doing that is if somebody's kid is running loose, if there's kids up on the track, you know, because sometimes at these events, you know, they'll have kids out there foot racing or doing whatever, you know, and you just never know. So all I can think about is there was someone's kid out there doing something. So when I saw that, I shut it down. I slide the car sideways on the start line. I mean, it was very, very hard on the car. You know, you got to understand, one of the most dangerous things you can do with these cars is a burnout. If you think about it, on the run, if the tires aren't hooked, it's dangerous, and that's how people crash. Your burnout is that the whole time. You know what I mean? So your tires, my drive tires are spinning almost 200 miles an hour, and you know, I get going, I'm probably 40, 50 miles an hour in the burnout when I come to the starting line. We're booking. So it's one of the most out of control things you can do in a race car. It really is. It's fun, you know, and it's a good time, and it gets the people pumped up, and it lays down the, you know, the nice patch of rubber you need to be fast. But at the same time, it's dangerous. And so when I see people waving their arms, I just shut it off. You know, there's no point in hurting anybody or whatever. So, you know, I can do another burnout later. I can fire it back up. Hopefully, you know, whatever temperature, you know, we'll figure it out. But I think if the car stopped, they're telling me that the track was trying to shut me off, or someone was trying to tell me not to do my burnout because they were announcing the chip draw for the next class. Obviously, I feel like that could have waited till after the round, but apparently it was supposed to happen between small tire and big tire, so it was supposed to happen before big tire got started. There was a miscommunication there, and so two of the guys went, or two pairs in big tire went, and then when it was my turn, they decided that when they realized that the announcer was announcing the chip draw, and they were doing the chip draw, and so basically they just wanted me to wait until the chip draw was over. My mistake, I guess, for doing my burnout too early, I don't know, or for not, I don't know. It was a miscommunication. Nobody's mistake, I guess. But long story, even longer here, I started my burnout. So when they shut me off, we had to push the car back while they were announcing. And so when I, you know, of course, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I take my helmet off. I take my Hans off. I'm getting my gloves off. I'm trying to figure out, you know, I'm about to get out of the car because I want to know why we just put my car through so much stress and trauma by sliding it. And, you know, those big old tires coming to a stop like that is just so hard on stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. They push me back. Obviously, we're going to have to do another burnout if they let us race. So we push back behind the water box, and I'm sitting there with no helmet on. They're trying to explain to me what happened and what they want out of me. And so I just tell them, hey, you know, let me know when you guys are almost done so I can get my shit back on or whatever. They say, cool. They walk off. I'm fidgeting with my helmet. The padding in my helmet's acting goofy because when I took it off in a hurry, it messed it all up. So then out of nowhere, you know, I'm not even looking up. I'm looking down. Out of nowhere, I hear the other car fire up. I look up and the track's giving me the burnout signal. Like, you know, no one told me they were almost done. No one told me they were done. No one told me anything. They were just giving me the burnout signal. So my opponent, he saw the same burnout signal that I saw. He did what he was supposed to do. He fired it up, did his burnout. Now I'm rushing to get my helmet and my Hans and my gloves back on so that I can do my burnout. And anybody that's had to do that knows that the faster you try and go, the worse, the harder it is to do it. So I went as fast as I could. I got my helmet and Hans on, got it clipped. You know, there's 4 clips you got to do. Then there's the buckle, got all that done. By the time I got it done, the padding in my helmet was screwed up. So it's like basically like pushing my face up, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, whatever. It's okay. As long as I, you know, don't get timed out. I do a big burnout, I back up, and the whole time, my opponent's sitting there idling. I mean, I've seen a lot of comments, man, and for those of you that think that I would do that intentionally to gain an advantage, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. I have no need to do that. I have no desire to do that. I would never want to do that. Never. There's no point in that. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. Now, there's been times when I back up slow to let the greasiness of the hot track tack up, but I do my burnout way before the other guy, or I let him know. You know, there's just no sense in it. So I was not doing that for any advantage or whatever. It's clear who understands and who doesn't because, as you could see in the video after the pass, my opponent, Kerry, came over to my car and actually said out loud, hey, man, they had me do my burnout way too early. You know, he said my car was getting hot. Okay, and then his exact words were, it's not your fault. So that just goes to show you how stand-up the Black Widow crew is because, you know, there's been other guys before that have tried to blame stuff on me, and because they know that everybody will believe it, they go for it. And that's not what that crew did. That's not what that team did. And they had the same energy on Facebook as they did at the track. You know, no negativity, no negativity, no negativity. That's cool. My hats off to them because, you know, there's not very many racers like that anymore. Most of the guys nowadays, they would take, you know, they would jump at the chance to be able to blame something on me or whatever, or their opponent whenever they lose, whatever. But that's not what happened. So thankfully, we got through that round, and we'll live to race those guys another time. And I can guarantee you, the next time I see that Black Widow Camaro, I'm gonna know that he owes me an ass whipping. So I'm sure it'll be a killer race. Normally, I think that car puts up a lot better pass than what he did against me. Whether it was his car getting hot or the tires cooling down after the burnout, or whether it was just that tricky right lane, I don't know. But I have a feeling that next time we race, it's going to be a barn burner. As far as the pass goes, I went in first. I knew that Limpy was, annoyed with how long this was taking, so I went in first. And good thing I did, because as soon as I grabbed the trans brake before Limpy even started pulling me in. I just knew this was going to happen quickly because he needed to get the other guy moving. So as soon as I see Limpy about to start the race, about to start to pull somebody in, I go on the brake. As soon as he hears me go on the brake, he locks me, locks him, and the light comes on. And that all happened within about 4.5 seconds. And thankfully, my car wicks up really quick, because if not, I would have left at 2 pounds of boost, and I'd have get my butt kicked. So thankfully, we've prepared for all of this stuff. There's no way you're going to throw me off of this deal. We knew how important this race was. We knew how important this first round was, and we were ready for it, thankfully. And so, nothing against Limpy. It's just I have to be ready on my side, and we were. And the car went right down. That was the cool part. That was the coolest thing for me. It wasn't even outrunning him or beating the Black Widow car, because honestly, I don't get anything from beating the Black Widow at the racetrack, because I know that's a purpose-built street race car. You know what I mean? So the only time I'm going to get any satisfaction out of beating him is on the street, because that's what he built it for, and that's what I built my car for. So hopefully next time we meet, it'll be in the street. But we got through the round. We'll deal with the drama or whatever as it comes, and we're moving on. But as the Black Widow crew said, no negativity. That's what we're on right now. So going to the second round, a couple more rounds to go, and you never know. We might just have this deal whipped. After that first round, we get paired up second round with Jesse Havlick and his little Opel. I thought it was a blower car, but after I did some research on it, it's actually a pretty wicked, it may have some nitrous on it, maybe a nitrous car now, but it's an Opel, or at least I think it's an Opel. It's a small car. He runs the drag and drive events. I noticed it had a Sick Week sticker on it, maybe, so he had been down there for that. They build some really, really wicked cars, like really nice, wild cars, especially for drag and drive, which I think is super cool. They always build different stuff. It's not like the Fox Body Mustang guys or whatever. And to be honest, that's what I like about the big tire events is, most of the big tire classes that you see, you rarely ever see a Fox Body Mustang, you know what I mean? Because the big tire guys, if they're going to go that far on something, it might as well be something that, is different and cool. And that's, I really like that about the big tire class. But obviously this class had 18 or 20 cars last week when it was supposed to go down, but because of the rain, it got pushed a week. And then because of the rain and because of the Big End Banger on Friday night at Muncie, it got pushed to Saturday. So it went from a night race, with 20 big tire cars to a daytime race with, I think there was 14 or 16. Right after I went last round, one of the other really fast cars in the class, Nicky Bobby's Camaro, Uncle Sam, he had a little mishap at the top end of the track and miscalculated something, and the car made a hard move. Not sure what happened, but it made a really hard, fast move, and he tore the car up pretty good. So he's probably going to not make it back for next round. Of course, the Black Widow is not going to make it back for next round. One of the other cars I was worried about was Eric Trigolet's yellow Camaro. It was a Bickle car. That car looked, it had the equipment, you know what I mean? It had that look like, ooh, that car's going to be tough to beat. Apparently in the first round, he got a little close to the center and may have, even though he won, he dropped the tire into the grass a little bit. That's disqualification, so he's out. He actually did that against the Opel of Jesse Havlick, so that's probably who I would have raced had it not went down the way it did. But So now I'm racing Jesse Havlick's Opals. Man, this event, I mean, it's so much fun, and honestly, for as much trouble as as they're having with the rain and weather and everything else, like they're running it pretty smooth. But man, you know, you go up to the lanes, it starts raining, you come back. You go up to the lanes, it starts raining, you come back. You push out, you're fixing to go, and it starts raining. So it's been a lot of that. They call big tire. We all go to the lanes. We're sitting in the lanes, and I don't even think they got one big tire car done that round before the rain came. They may have, but honestly, I think all of us were still in the staging lanes whenever the rain came. The rain came pretty heavy. We thought we were going to wait it out, and then we had a driver's meeting. We tried to dry the track, so I mean, they put golf carts and pit cars and everything else just running up and down the track, you know, to try and dry it all night, and it just wasn't happening. So they decided to call it for now and come back at 10 a.m. in the morning, and we'll get this done. The bad part about that is at 10 a.m. when we get back, I am the second pair down a cold track that's been sitting all night with rain. So the car that I'm up against, I wouldn't even be worried about it if it was something like, you know, a 3-second car like the Black Widow, or like, you know, something like low 4-second car or something, or, you know, whatever. But when you're racing a mid to high 4-second car on a track that's been sitting all night, you're one of the first, you know, the first or second pair to go down it, that becomes your worst nightmare. It's really quick. You make one little mistake and that guy will make you pay for it. So now it's Sunday. It's a beautiful day. Doesn't look like rain is in the forecast whatsoever. We're excited. We're ready to go. But we notice there's a few cars missing. Obviously, some of the guys weren't able to make it back after the rain delay last night. I know that I know the guy we're racing in second round, the Opal, he was pitted next to us. We got to the track it was late Friday, early Saturday when we got there. When we first got to the racetrack to set up the pit, and I know he got there well after us. He was pitted right next to us, and I know when I first started talking to him, I was working on getting the generator and everything going, and I was talking to him, and they had just came from the Big and Banger at Muncie. So Friday night they raced the Big and Banger. They won that, and then they went straight to the War in the Woods because they had been gone. And dude, they slept in their truck. Like I was like, "What? You guys gonna go to the hotel?" And they said, "No, we're just gonna sleep in the truck for a few hours, and you know we'll be good." I was like, dang, that's fucking hardcore. Those drag and drive guys are hardcore. They got a few hours sleep in the truck, and then I just think that they were here all day Saturday racing, and they were gone all night Friday racing. So I think that after the rain delay, I just don't think that they were able to do it Sunday. So they didn't come back. It's good and bad for me. You know, it's good because that means I'm on to the next round if I can make it up there and make my hit. The bad part for me is that a competition bye is always, you know, it's always a big decision maker because you're not going up there to race somebody. So you have you can lay it up. You can go up there and just break the beams and go back. You can lay it up and just put something down through there like you did last round or first round or whatever, or you can swing for it and see what it'll take. In the race against Jesse, I actually had the left lane, but it started raining. So now this morning, since he's not here, I automatically win. All I gotta do is take the tree. Now is the time where you make a decision for the final. And my decision was, I'm gonna go right lane for my bye run here, my competition bye. And see, there's a difference between a bye run that you draw out of the hat. If there's an odd amount of cars, there'll be a bye run, which means one guy won't have a race. He'll have to race himself, and he moves on to the next round, and he gets a free hit at the track, basically. And there's a competition bye, which means that your opponent didn't show up for the next round. He's either broke or he didn't make it back or whatever. For whatever reason, he didn't show up, got timed out, whatever. So competition bye means that your opponent didn't show up. That's where we're at. Because we're now going into the final since two other guys didn't show up. You know, this cut the car count pretty short here. We're going into the final and I haven't made a pass in the right lane. I know how this works. I've been doing this long enough to know that when we go to the final, you know, it's a good possibility I'm going to get the right lane in the final. And so if I make another blistering pass in the left lane trying to set a track record or something silly, you know, it's not going to do me any good. You know what I mean? That's just doing it for the gram. Best thing I could do right now is slow down, collect myself, pick the right lane for my bye run, go up there, make a hit in the right, put something in there that I think will go, make a hit in the right, and try and get data and go as fast as I can. That way, in the final, I'm good for either lane, and I'm good for anybody there, and that's the way it should be. You should go into the final loaded for bear. You should go into the final confident, and you're bringing the best shit you got, no matter which lane and no matter which car you got to race. And right now, honestly, that's what we're feeling. We moved the car from the left lane over to the right lane just because I wasn't sure if maybe he pitted somewhere else. Who knows? who knows? You never know. I wasn't going to count the guy out till the last minute. We're in the staging lanes. He didn't show up, so we're going to push the car over to the right lane. We're going to make our hit in the right lane. We're going to try and get Dad on that right lane, and we're going to try and make it fast. And, I mean, fast enough to where anybody standing up there watching from the rest of the big tire guys, anybody that's still here, if they're standing there watching, you know, they're going to know. It don't matter what lane you put me in right now, you're going to have to make the fastest pass you've ever made to outrun me. And that's the way I want it to be. That's what we're going to do, and that's what we came here to do. We go up there, I do my burnout. You can definitely tell the right lane's not like the left lane. I mean, dude, whew, it was different. The starting line seemed better, but then 20 foot out from the starting line seemed worse. But then it got really good and it didn't drag you to the center. So I felt like I could go really fast in the right lane. It was just going to take a different type of tune-up. So it was going to take leaving harder, you know, off the button, more boost, more RPM, whatever, leaving harder, carrying the shift a little bit longer, and then but shifting the 2-3 a little earlier to bring it back out of that main bump out there and the transition, and then, you know, just trying to keep it in the middle of the track. I figured I could go really fast in that lane, and sure enough, man, I did. Right in the heat of the day, we're talking, I'm the second car down the track on Sunday. That track sat all night after rain, and after the rain last night, we had golf carts and pit vehicles and people and everything else walking up and down this track trying to dry it off. And dude, they drug mud and dirt everywhere, just like we figured they would, you know? So to be the second car down the right lane and to make probably the fastest pass of the event, you know, that was freaking cool, man. When I let off the button, I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then we went right down it, man. And you know, I know that there was a lot of people that said, you know, after I made the pass in the left lane, there's a lot of people that come by the pit and they're like, oh man, yeah, that was cool, man. Everybody goes fast in the left lane though. Wait till you get that right lane. You can't go as fast in that right lane. It's 2-3 tenths different. Well, I'm telling you, I went a 61 in the right and a 63 in the left. So I actually went faster in the right. But everybody said that, you know, it's 2 tenths different from the left to the right. There's just no way, you know what I mean? I'm not going to let that happen. I'm pretty sure I went faster in the right lane than I did in the left lane. So now I've got data on both lanes. They're both fast. Now I just need to decide which lane I'm going to be in and how do we tune for that. Because in the right lane, the starting line's a little better, but then it's not as good at 15, 20, 30 foot. The left lane, the starting line's not quite as good, but then it's better at 30, 40 foot. And then out the back, the left lane pulls you to the center and the right lane doesn't. So you can run the right lane out a little further than you can the left lane, but you can get after a little harder in the mid range in the left lane. There's tune-up decisions I got to make in either lane, but I feel like, you know, no matter what happens, we're in good shape for the final. on to the final at War in the Woods. We've gone down every time. We made the decisions we needed to make. We tested, we took it seriously. Hard work pays off. And now we're going into the final versus the Krusty truck, which is the C10 sleeper truck. It's fast, you know, and this is proof. I mean, you look at that truck, it's proof that this surface won't take everything you got. You don't have to run 390s or 380s to win this deal, but you have to be able to run what the surface will take. And so far, at this point, me and that truck, we've done that. We've done that the whole event. And I spent some time with those guys in their pit last night and after the rain out, and they're good dudes. They're happy, you know, their truck's hauling ass. But let me tell you, their truck was built for one reason, and that was to outrun guys like me. Their truck was built to outrun guys like me with cars like mine. Their truck is specifically designed to make it weird, you know, on the fast guy or whatever. So it's very rare that I am that guy. It's very rare that I'm in that position. I'm usually the underdog in this deal, but I respect their hustle for sure. I know that the truck has, I mean, they didn't tell me this, but just from what I can tell, it's got a big block Chevrolet with I would say a 118 millimeter turbo maybe. I think it was a single anyway. Could be twins, but it was a big single. If it was a single, it was a big single. Looks like about a 34-inch tire, you know, pretty standard big tire stuff. You know, it's a legit big tire truck. It's not a small tire car. Somebody put big tires on for this race or whatever. It's a legit big tire truck. And if I had to guess by looking at it, I'd say it runs 470s at, you know, 460s, 470s, and it can probably do it right here on this racetrack. You know what I mean? He's going to run what that lane will take, and I'm going to run what this lane will take. I do believe his truck's probably a little heavier than my car. I don't think it's as heavy as most people think it is, but I do believe it's heavier than my car. Power-wise, though, I'm guessing we're both going to put down about the same power today on this racetrack. So it's going to come down to, you know, just flat old who can force it down through there. I'm honored to be racing these guys. I'm going to get no pleasure out of beating, you know, them, or if they beat me, I'll be happy for them and shake their hand. That's what this race is. It's just really, really cool. And, you know, and we all know that, like, half the big tire field didn't make it back because of the rain. So, you know, we're just out here having a good time. And I'm just hoping to go down every time, stage a car every time, and not have any mishaps or mistakes or whatever. And I'm sure that's the same thing he's looking for. So to go up there to do the final, this time, you know, everybody's fully aware of the burnout situation. So neither one of us are going to, you know, we're not holding each other up or anything like that. And we even flipped for lane earlier in the day, and we both said, no matter what the track says, no matter what anybody says, we're going with this, we're going with the way we're going to do it. And, you know, if they tell you to, you know, to start before me or whatever, we're going to say no or whatever. So we had come to an agreement on that. We do our burnouts, we back up, we're the last pair down. So this is last two cars of the event going down right here, and that's a big tire final. Limpy pulls us in. I go in first. I probably shouldn't have. I shouldn't have, you know, because it's another turbo car. So the reason I went in first earlier is because it was a blower car. So I kind of figured that if I went in first, it would give me plenty of time to be on the brake and car settled down, everything like that. But I went in first against another turbo car, and that's enough to almost rattle me sometimes. I almost jump if I sit there too long. So not that I sat there forever or anything, but it's hard to sit there while the other guy's staging his car. You know what I mean? I like to be the one who goes in last, but it was our decision to go in first, just so that we knew we were up there and nothing could happen and we were good. And the light couldn't come on before we were ready. When the light does come on, I let off the button. I felt like I got a decent tree on the light, but I wasn't really up on the wheel. I wasn't really shooting for it too hard because I didn't want a red light. I didn't want to mess this up. I didn't want to shank it in the final like I always do. So, you know, I felt like I got a decent reaction time, but it wasn't nothing superior or super killer. You know, he probably could have got me on that light pretty easy. We go down through there. Obviously, the track was, you know, changing throughout the day. I hadn't ran in a couple hours, so by the time we ran, you know, I was really having to drive that GTO, man. It was moving a lot. Those bumps seemed like they got bigger somehow since the last time I was over there. So go to the finish line, shoots her out, and we're as happy as we can be, man. And it's always awkward, you know, because you want to celebrate, you want to jump out of the car, especially what I've, you know, how much this whole race has meant to me and how much it's meant to me to get here. And everybody said, you know, all the things everybody says, you know, they say you're not going to make it down there and that track's too sketchy and the shutdown's too short and you're going to crash or some nobody's going to, you know, clip your nuts and you're going to be blah, blah, blah. You know, it was just, I've heard it all. This race meant a lot, man. It really did. And it was real and it was cool. And it was real cool, you know. Everybody was there for the right reasons. Everybody on the property was there because they love racing in that event. Not because somebody told them they had to be there, not because they were getting paid to be there, not because they had a contract, nothing like that. Like, everybody was there for the same reason. It was awesome. So it's hard not to jump out of the car and celebrate, you know, but at the same time, I'm also just celebrating that we got it done and we went three laps, you know what I mean? So it was a weird celebration. It wasn't the normal jump up and down, hoot and holler and act like a fool, you know. It was more of the, you know, yes, okay, now we can go on and do the next thing and you know, and relax a little bit. So not that we're going to relax, but we don't have to worry so much about tripping over our, you know what. The Krusty guys were cool as hell. Everybody's super great. They came over after the pass. We hung out a little bit in the pits. And to be honest, man, it was just a great time. You know, War in the Woods was a great time. I have a feeling that in September, I have a feeling it's going to be wild. It's a night race in September. Hopefully the rain will stay away. And I've been told there are quite a few big tire guys that are really fast and really eager to bust my ass at Brown County. So I think we're going to have to go back there. So mark your calendars for that. Keep your eye out for that because it will not disappoint, I promise you. Brown County Dragway, one of America's coolest old racetracks still alive. Not very many of them left like this. It's so narrow and just wild and crazy. It's unreal. Join us for a little cruise down Brown County. When you come down through there, if you touch a blade of grass, that's considered crossing. So that's center line. Usually you would have, you know, a little bit on both sides and you could use your lane. But if you deviate even the slightest, you're in the grass on either side. And then they've got these guardrails here. But this used to be grass too. The last couple of years when they held this race, there was no fence. This grass in the center went all the way. Up until very, very, very recently, like a month ago or so, this was it. At this guardrail, when it stopped, there was nothing after it. All this K-rail wasn't here. It was just trees and creek, I guess. So, I mean, that's where you landed.
Nice.
There's your wind light.
That is the same technology as carburetors.
It works. That's about it right here. If you don't have your wicked ride shut down by right here, it's time to start thinking.
That's when you floor it and you go that way and you take off.
It does
And then
look
you
like,
just fly.
It does look like if you're in an airplane, you just bank left. If you haven't got your deal figured out by now, you got to make a decision right here. What are you going to do? So that turn is a 180. That turn's too hard to try and, you know, drift around that corner there. It's, you know, unless you're going really slow, there ain't no drifting around now. And someone hit this. Dude, I can't even imagine hitting this at speed. Like,
You better hope you're in that lane.
yeah, I mean, well, that thing does kind of look better. It's still got a pretty good little, it's like a little,
You
it's
want
kind of a jump here and then a gravity cavity. If you made it to here,
These are the checkpoints, like a video game.
if you've made it to here and you still have not shut down to a decent speed, it's time for you to decide if your safety equipment is prepared for what's about to happen here. Because, you know, in a well-built race car that was designed to protect you, I would much rather hit this in my car than, you know, any other alternative. But if like you got one of those cars with no cage or some shit box with fucking PVC pipe or JB welded cages in there, it might be time for you to think about just jumping ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just open the door and roll out.
That's what I'm saying. Open the door, you know, get yourself ready, like the dude who jumped out of his airplane, let it crash. What's his name?
Stop, we're not even
Get
going
yourself
no.
ready and then just give it the old lethal weapon too. And then, you know, they put this here. This is your first barrier of defense here. This is,
Obstacles.
you hit these, they'll slow you down a couple mile an hour before you hit these. CrossFit, this is the CrossFit area.
Yeah, people come down here and flip these around.
in between rounds, they get wore out. If you make it past the CrossFit area, you got this wall that'll stop you like that. This is made of reinforced maple. Oh man. If you make it through there, it's smooth sailing though. You can go all the way to the highway. So there's a guy on Facebook that posted up that his dad raced back here, or whatever, he raced back here. There wasn't even a return boat back then. He said you just turn around and coast it back down the track. This, it's not, I mean, real nice. It's real nice right there. Like, yeah, look at that. All right. Oh, nope, yeah, we got, oh yeah. Good, we're good. Oh, whoops, okay, yep. So, yeah, look back to there. Look at that. That's what you got to down here.
That's what we call quality.
Yeah. And that's why I make sure to use only the best shock absorbers. And you probably should raise your car up a little bit. Unless you're one of the small tire guys that do this stuff, like Billy, you know. Billy from SRC, I mean, he's lucky he's got four-wheel drive. At least it looks like it anyway, I don't know. He said it's not four-wheel drive, man, it sits like a four-wheel.
Whoa, is that bald eagle? His head's
Holy
white.
shit, that was a bald eagle. That was no shit a bald eagle. This place is magical. Right here, on the line, this is the starting line here, I believe, yeah. If your car is long, the problem is that there's a really tough transition here, and it's not straight. So, like, if you have a long car, your right tire might be on this crack, but your left tire.
I hope you got some rear steer in it to push that puppy forward.
Dude, I think nice. Yeah, you gotta have some rear steer. But once you're onto this piece, that piece of concrete's it's nice for on its by itself.
I mean, it peels up though. Like,
yes, it does. Yes, I believe it was probably poured. Like, you can see the difference. It's probably poured in the winter out. But this concrete here, good concrete, really good actually. Like, you can tell by, you know what I mean? This reminds me of the concrete on Council Road. This is like a really good street. Like, if you're at a good street race with some rubber down, I would say that's about like what this concrete is. So you can leave pretty hard. Look at that. What is that? Dude. It's an old fucking flag tower. You would stand up here and look, you flag the races. Right?
probably.
Huh. So you stand up here, are you ready? This is where, oh, dude, this is where Rich Christensen would stand. On Pink's All Out. I mean, look, I got the bald head to match, you know? I'm not quite douchebaggy enough, but I mean, I'm almost there.
You were douchebag of the year.
That's true, yeah, 2013. But you would do this, and you would do this, and you would do this. That's what he did, right? No, I don't remember. But anyway, but yeah, you would stand here, you would flag the races.
Nice.
Dude, it's still here. This is crazy. This is insane. But anyway, then you get to this little piece of concrete, which I don't know what it serves its purpose is, but man, it is a, look at this, like, look, I mean, that's how you tell on the expansion joints and transitions. You drag your foot and you see if it stops. If it stops, it's an up. If it doesn't, it's a down, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. But what's weird is on this one, it's an up and a down. Up on this side and a down on that side. But that's a really good, dude, that launch pad, that's a really good piece of concrete. But then you get on this piece of concrete, it's kind of iffy. Yeah, this is that other concrete. This is the concrete that peels up. So that's why the two lanes are different. That's why when I was coming through here doing a burnout, like you do a burnout in the water box, you get it going, it's zinging up. In my car, once you get the burnout going, you're out of the water, you just keep your foot at one throttle position, it'll do a burnout forever. Well, as you're coming across this starting line right here, you can feel the motor start to tug down like it's trying to hook a little bit. And right about the time I was gonna give it more throttle to try and keep it going, I hit this piece, and dude, it goes like it's all, and it tugs down right there, and you about to get throttle, and you hit this, and it goes, and dude, it's just lit. Everybody was bitching about this lane. I went really fast in this lane, but I don't know, I feel like I have a lot of experience reading roads, so I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else that was here, but I went really fast in the right lane. But this is why. If they could get this figured out, there'd be no issue.
Yeah, because that one is the same concrete, the whole deal.
Yeah, they tore this up for a reason. Like, something happened, and they had to rip that up and redo it. I'm guessing on this side you've got that really, really good concrete. And then this concrete's not quite as good as this, you know, this isn't quite as good as this, but it's not like that one. Right here is a pretty gnarly transition, to be honest with you. In the car, even during the burnout, you can feel this. And I mean, these big giant cracks and stuff, that's probably why they redid that. That piece probably was looking like this or worse. They should have left it alone, because this is better than that. And then you hit this transition, which is a down. So that one's an up, this one's a down. This is a gnarly bump right here. So that's why we were trying to get to the center by now. And then this is really rough. This is concrete or asphalt?
They said asphalt after the.
No, this is a weird piece of concrete. So concrete, weird concrete. And then, no, this is asphalt, you're right. This is asphalt, then this is concrete again. What
Well, this has the rocks in it. You can see it on the edge right here.
Yeah.
This has
So-
the rocks in it.
So that's like concrete, smooth brush concrete, and then like peeling up, popping concrete, some kind of weird, you know, rough asphalt, and then concrete again, and then asphalt, rough asphalt. That's probably why they, you know, why everybody says that you can't go down, or, you know, that you can't go fast here. It's probably because all these transitions, and then that piece is just missing. This one's gnarly. Dude, we raced on this all weekend, and it still didn't get rid of all the dirt and mud and stuff. It's that porous. It's so porous that
And they're in different spots
they are.
per lane.
So if you try to tune for this time over distance, you'd be a little different per lane. You're on this rough piece of asphalt here for
Oh, nice.
quite a ways. But that's what fell out of my car. I told you, I thought it was.
Stop.
Dude, I swear to God, I know what this is. I know exactly what this is. EGT on the firewall in my car. This is the piece that I made that holds all the EGT plugs into the EGT box. So I need to look and see if that last run, if I lost EGTs.
Yeah, because you were the last pass
This
on
happened
here.
on the burnout. It's so bumpy in the burnout. But I remember backing up and seeing this in the track shining. I was like, man, I hope that's not something that's going to cut a tire. But then, hell, they ran 3 or 4 more classes after mine, did they? No, I was the last pass. That's right. I was the last one to go down this mother trucker. And then you come to this transition, which doesn't make sense because, like, what's the deal here? Oh, they scraped it.
This one got like a foot more scraping than that one.
Yeah, they scraped this on a...
They're like, that's the left lane, so scrape a little more.
They scraped the right lane on a Friday. And they're like, it's almost 4 o'clock. We're just going to stop there. And then you get to this, which is cracked and beat up pretty good. And then it has some pretty serious bumps. Right here, it starts pulling you towards the center for some reason. I don't know why, but you can just feel it. Once you get to this piece, and maybe because that's sunk down so far, I don't know. But once you get to here, you can just feel the car going towards the center. Right where the grass ends, I almost hit the grass every time. By here, it's really pulling you that way. Yeah, I wouldn't want to hit that. Even though it seemed like I did, I wouldn't want to. That's slow you down pretty good of it. Shit, look at that bump, dude. That's insane. Man, this is cool, dude. This is the kind of shit that I like, you know. This is what drag racing is about.
But this is probably the hardest transition because nobody ever sees it but me.
What is it?
Like, where-
This is a transition?
Yeah,
Where?
it's just you don't see it. Like,
When? Whoa, what is that? That is a weird transition. I didn't count that.
that's the one that I showed you when you made your pass in this one. I said there's like a weird thing right there, but it's more to this side, to the
Yeah,
this
you did.
side than it is this side.
So right here, you want to go towards the center to get away from that, but then you want to go back towards the outside to get away from the other one. So cool. This is what drag racing is all about right here. Like, this is about driving and tuning and knowing how to work on your car and knowing how to get down, knowing how, you know, as a drag racer, tuner, driver, whatever, there's a lot of tools that you have in the toolbox that you've learned over the years on how to get over something or through something. There's a bad piece in the track, or there's a transition from concrete to asphalt or asphalt to concrete, or there's a turnout, you know, where the road dips on one side or another, or it's dirty or whatever, and like, you gotta learn how to get hit, you know, there's a bump here, or there's a dip there. Like, you learn that stuff throughout the years. And
This is on that I was like, well, shit.
whoa, holy moly, dude, that is serious. Oh, you can see that marker, that that other transition you were talking about.
Yeah, it's like a low spot.
Well, it is like a low spot. It's like a whoop section with tables. So like if you could hit the whoops, stay on top of all these ones, and then hit the table, rhythm section in the back, man, you could haul ass here. And you got this, there's the concrete again. Like, whoa, dude, I literally just felt myself go down. I bet if you had a ball and you put it here, it would roll down, and then when it got to there, it would roll back towards the center, like it would, because this is all like down. It sounds like we're bitching, but we're not. We love shit like that. But that's why we're here. So, this may go at the end of the video, and in which case, I'm gonna say this. These old tracks like this, like Brown County, Yellow Belly, place like that, it's not gonna take much for them to shut down, you know what I mean? Like, they have one bad summer, one bad year, attendance sucks, or, you know, bad weather, storms, you know, stuff like the virus and everything. Like, dude, it won't take much to shut places like this down, especially now when everyone can complain on social media about everything. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't voice your opinion and stuff, you know, and I'm not saying that places like this don't need, you know, changes or upkeep or maintenance or whatever, but all I'm saying is, like, before you talk down on a place like this, or before you say you're not going to race here because it's got guardrails instead of concrete barrier, or you're not going to race here because, you know, it's narrow or it's short or whatever, like, before you do that, just remember that these places don't have the money to put up concrete barriers. And if you look, the big tracks that do have all that stuff, you're not going to them. You know what I mean? They're all closing. Like, look at that down there. Look, straight across, look.
It's a deer.
Wow. That's so fucking cool. You see what I mean, dude? You see what I'm talking about? Like,
To support your local
yeah.
small town tracks.
Just support your tracks, man. You got a track, go support it. If you're a promoter, if you're an event organizer, if you're somebody that puts races on, put them on at places like this, man. You know? Like, you can help keep this stuff going. This place has been open since '68, they said, you know what I mean? And
Well, not just keep them going, but preserve the history of drag racing.
because nobody else is.
Yeah.
You know, there's no historical society that's going around to all these places and you know, buying the land and making it to where nobody can tear it down or nobody can get rid of it, or, you know, like, there's no giant drag racing museums and historical society place where they're like, oh, you can't touch that place, that's a historical site. You know, like, nature will just reclaim all this. The moment that people stop caring and people stop coming to this place, nature will just reclaim it, and it won't take long. When you look at this right here, how long do you think it would take for nature to take all this back, you know?
Well, the most American thing in the whole world is muscle cars and drag racing and racetracks, and they can't lose
It's
that.
part of all of our history. It's part of America's history. It's part of, you know, the blue collar working man's history. It's part of everyone's, you know, it's part of us. It's part of all of us. We all grew up riding around in, you know, cars. So I just say, I'm not saying that you have to come here. I'm not saying whatever, but all I'm saying is think about it. If you tell these tracks you're not going to go because they have guardrails, or because they're narrow, or because they don't have perfect surfaces, or because they don't have enough parking, or because you got to pit in the gravel or the grass, like, if you tell these tracks, if you say that, then the only thing these tracks can do to try and keep up is replace all that. But the amount of money it takes to put concrete barriers in here from start to finish, and the amount of money it takes to resurface a drag strip and all that stuff, and add places to park and RV hookups, and, you know, no more gravel pit and stuff. Think about that. The money it would take to do all that could shut this place down in one season if nobody showed up. And the tracks that do have all that are the ones closing down. Those are the tracks that have so much money in upkeep and maintenance and monthly expenses. Those tracks spend so much money to stay open because of all the amenities they have. And they're all shutting down. It seems like it's easier for those tracks to shut down than it is for the little small ones to shut down, you know?
Well,
Like,
and obviously this place is making upgrades because it's getting that business.
They're
you know,
trying,
they're getting
yes.
the fencing and they're getting
Yeah.
guardrails, and
Yep.
they're making, they're
You're
looking at their
exactly
problems
right.
and they're fixing them.
They're doing it as fast as they can, as much as they can, without getting rid of the heritage of their track and the tradition. But, you know, you just got to remember, man, like, we've lost, 7 tracks this year? Big ones, national event tracks. It's a bunch.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, it's a bunch. Atlanta, Houston,
Even not
Chicago.
in just this year, since the
I
pandemic.
mean, since the pandemic, we've lost a bunch of them, you know what I mean? And we're losing more and more. You don't have to come here every weekend, you know, or whatever, but I'm just saying give them a chance. Next time there's a race going on, go check it out. Even if you just go watch, buy a ticket.
If you broaden your racing horizons, you can realize that there's a whole world of racing that isn't just about how fast you can go number-wise, you know? Like, that, my favorite part of racing the last few years is the challenge of getting down on a shitty surface. Like, at some point in life, you realize that the chasing the fastest time ever is just about money, you know?
Anybody can, and nowadays, with all the technology and all the amazing, you know, machining equipment that's come out that's allowed 3-axis machining and CNC stuff and everything, like, dude, horsepower is so easy to get nowadays, you know? I mean, think about, you know, there's 100 cars at a no prep race nowadays, a small tire no prep race, there's 100 cars there, 90% of them are turbo, you know what I mean? Like, that's insane, you know? So if you think about it, horsepower is so easy. All you gotta do is call and order it, put a credit card number, and you can make more horsepower than anybody at the track. But there's something that you can't buy. This determination, hard work, passion, and then just the knowledge and the trial and error and you know, figuring those things out and being able to do it on race day. Like, that's the stuff you can't buy, you know what I mean? That's the stuff you have to earn. You have to go out there and you have to get it and you have to earn it and you respect it, and to be able to use it is amazing. So, you know, you want to go somewhere where the fastest guy doesn't always win, or you want to go somewhere where the underdog has an actual chance, or whatever, you know, go somewhere where you can stand right next to the cars, you can stand in the pits, you can walk right up to the drivers, you know, you want to go somewhere like that, you know? Go check these places out, man, and then take in the history. The way it looks is a real nice change of scenery, you know. It's so cool, and the different challenges, you know. I had to use more tools out of my tuning toolbox than I've had to bring out some tools I haven't used in years, you know. Like,
This race was more fun than a lot of the races we've been to.
This race was a lot of fun, and not just because we won. It was just a lot of fun in general, you know. But anyway, yeah, go check them out. You know, if you like what you see, subscribe to our stuff, like our video. Let us know what little track you have in your area that you're going to think about going to check out this weekend or something, you know. Comment what track you got. Comment the history you have in your town or in your area code. Let us know. We might just come there. We might just be there this summer. But anyway, as always, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. We're at 300,000 followers right now, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And right now we're going to load the truck up and go home.
Yep.
Well, bye.